2020 was an unprecedented event. This short film will highlight the experiences of my family and friends and the struggles both mental and physical they endured, which hopefully many viewers will be able to relate to. Entering lockdown was a new experience. I don't think anyone could have predicted what it would be like.
The first moment I began hearing stories online from other countries who were tackling this virus, I was terrified. I became completely obsessed with news updates, sanitising every item in my home and limiting our contact with the outdoors to only my partner leaving the home.
When lockdown started, we were happy to go along with it because of what was happening in the rest of the world, and we wanted to keep our family safe.
I think there was a certain feeling of apprehension. Would the public adhere to the rules? Would there be some sort of crackdown ending in martial law? Luckily, everyone just seemed to get on with it. However, as the lockdown continued, people became less friendly and reverted back to not really paying much attention to the strangers they passed.
The virus was declared a worldwide pandemic the day after my son was born, so the hospital visitors I had that day would be my last contact with family and friends for months.
Because I work in retail, I was relieved to go into lockdown just to keep people safe. It really increased my anxiety being at work because I was around so many people, and it made you kind of mistrust people, especially because you could see people who weren't following the rules.
Lockdown was a new experience for everyone because of the unknown. The sense of isolation was quite hard to do at times. It felt like you were being trapped because you couldn't go out, you weren't allowed.
I often had to drop off shopping and supplies to people. If I'd been at work, I really didn't feel comfortable being near anyone else.
As a close family with a birthday or celebration every few weeks at least, it was very hard for it suddenly to be dangerous to see them.
It was odd communicating with family and friends online at first, but after a while it just became like anything else.
My least favourite memory was after our first family video call. The call itself was brilliant. It was great to see everyone and to hear about what they were doing with their newfound time, as I had missed being in a room with them all talking over one another. The saddest part was when the call ended. That silence was the first time I realised I had no idea when I would next be able to experience my family all together again.
Favourite memory was having the family in the garden for the first time and meeting the newest great-grandson. After that, 6 months later, the best thing was getting the first cuddle from him.
When things first started easing and you could see family again, even if it was from outside, found it more difficult seeing them and not being able to actually, interact with them and give them a hug.
It took me a few weeks to find my way out of the fear and focus more on family time we otherwise wouldn't have had. Thankfully, I was wrong on every fear, and best of all, my partner was able to keep his job.
So at first I was doing hobbies and things around the house that I hadn't done for a while, things that maybe I'd let slip or projects that I hadn't finished that had maybe started a couple of years ago. It gave me time to just enjoy doing something and not rushing about, being able to share with family and friends or trying out different recipes. The only problem was with baking, although I tried lots of different things like even making pretzels from scratch. I had to cut down on it because I was eating it all to myself.
My favourite memory was my partner being able to see his youngest son's first moments and milestones. Having witnessed how much it hurt him to miss out on those moments with our oldest due to working so much, it was really touching to see just how excited he became whenever our son rolled over, crawled and had his first giggle.
Something that has helped during the COVID lockdown was watching my neighbours Anne and Alex planting a lockdown garden for everyone to enjoy. It was so lovely to see the plants and flowers growing during the spring and summer.
The best thing that happened during the lockdown was learning to appreciate my family more and helping my mum and dad, mostly via video messaging. from simply just talking to each other as well as doing physiotherapy with them. I suppose I was glad I could pay them back a little for all their kindness.
It was really nice to actually get outdoors and explore lots of places, even just next to my house, that usually I wouldn't have bothered to go to. And I also had lots of time to really pay attention to what was in my garden, just spending time looking out the window and watching all the wildlife come and go.
I particularly enjoyed taking walks during the lockdown. I focused on reconnecting with parts of my local area and Paisley in general that I hadn't visited for years, and occasionally even chanced upon places I had never been to before.
Lockdown made you think of getting things in perspective, especially the people looking after everyone, the carers, nurses, everybody that had to go out and do their work and put their own lives at risk, help us stay safe, and also made you think about what was important in life, family, friends, neighbours, and not so much material things.
You were told not to exceed 15 minutes with a COVID-positive patient. It went against everything we were trained to do. You couldn't leave a patient who was struggling to breathe on their own. You had to hold their hand. They had no one.
The worst aspect of the lockdown was losing family and friend and not being able to share the grief until weeks later.
As a parent, those first 2 years are full of milestones and new experiences, so knowing my son was at this point 9 months old and had never met most of his family members in person, it was very emotional. On the flip side of those emotions though was the joy of spending every happy moment of the day with my sons and partner.
The strange part of COVID was seeing people with long hair. It reminded us of the 60s and 70s.
I wasn't overly surprised when everything locked down again at the turn of the year. I had felt the original lockdown ended too soon.
The weeks and then months of isolation caused significant mental health problems for many people.
There were very scary times. My fears of losing a family member or friend were once again at the front of my mind, and I was scared at the virus spiralling out of control again and there being no help if we needed it. Any hope I had through the summer of cases dwindling and the virus becoming a memory were destroyed. Once again, I was thrown into panic. Looking back, I know I was letting my anxieties take over, and I'd shut my family at home again. I was able to work on building my confidence with caring for my son, and I was nowhere near as scared for the change this time.
So the main thing that I was looking forward to the most is physical contact with friends and family. So during lockdown I really missed actually being able to hug people.
Christmas during COVID was especially hard, not seeing all the family and children. We had to do everything online, but we knew it was to save lives and keep us all safe.
My mental health really began to suffer at this point of the year, and I think it was heightened by the fact I can't recreate my son's first Christmas. It was very hard knowing we would be opening gifts via video call and unable to hug one another and pull crackers. While I was sad that my son's first Christmas wouldn't be shared with his family, it was a little easier knowing most families were experiencing the same heartache.
I'm looking forward to seeing family again, having everyone in the house, getting hugs and not getting told what we can and can't do.
There's no number I could put on how many tears I've shed for the moments I feel my kids and myself are missing with their family, and I just can't wait to get that back.
The future did look bleak for a long while. Now I'm glad I can see normality getting closer and the simple pleasure of life returning. Family and friends together having a wonderful time, just living life like we all would like to.
I used to go and see live music quite a lot, so hopefully I can do that again when things get back to something resembling normality.
That first birthday party after the world becomes a little safer will be unforgettable. I cannot wait to give out as many hugs as I can and to share a table of food with my nearest and dearest. All I want to do is sit in the busy room and hear everyone chatting and watch back every home video, because I don't ever want to take for granted that time again.